my first guest. You've loved him from the first time he hit the big screen, and Dazed and Confused, I did, to when he won an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. Now get ready to love him as an author. His new book is called Greenlights, and it's out now. Nobody in history has gotten more mileage out of a single word said 3 times in a row. All right, all right, all right. Please welcome Texas-born and raised Matthew McConaughey.
Hello, Kelly. How are you, dear?
Hello.
I have gotten some mileage out of those 3 words, haven't I?
Yeah. Well, speaking of born and raised in Texas, I learned from your book you were Little Mr. Texas runner-up. So I guess my question is, who beat you in that?
Well, I don't know. The funny part about that story is I was 8 years old, go to Bandera, Texas, you know, get up on the horse, answer a few questions about mama and everything else and the 4-H club, etc. And I won a trophy. That's all I remember is I won a trophy. That was in 1977, right? So let's cut all the way to 2018, about 2.5 years ago. I was going through an old file of photographs, and I found that photograph. I was like, look at me, Little Mr. Texas. And then something caught my eye. I looked on the nameplate that was engraved, you know, Little Mr. Texas, and I zoomed in on it, and it said runner-up.
It's the best ever.
So I question, I go, you know what? Would I even be sitting here right now with the life I had if I was raised thinking I was a runner-up? So what did that little white line my mom do for me, you know?
It's such a Texas mom thing to do. Be like, baby, yeah, you won. It's amazing.
I remember her telling me, she goes, and I go, but no, the other guy, when she goes, no, that family had a whole bunch of money. They were too rich. They were able to buy their kids a really nice suit. We couldn't afford it, so they cheated.
That's even more Texan. Oh, baby, you would have won. Those were rich people. You also pulled off a surprise recently, right? You jumped into a virtual bingo night, which is basically my favorite story ever. So how did that happen?
Yeah, that family, that retirement home had put out a request for me to come by physically do a bingo night. And it happened a few weeks prior to when I did the virtual, maybe a month prior. And I was busy, I didn't have time. And then all of a sudden, COVID comes up, we're all quarantined. And we were like, well, what if we do a virtual? I bet they're still playing bingo there. Let's do a virtual one. And called in, we had a hoot of a time. They were so much fun. Do you notice this? That elders, okay, we're revolutionaries in our 20s, right? Then in our 30s and 40s, we start to go, oh yeah, mom and dad were probably right about responsibilities and some of these things. 50s, we kind of hold on to that. But as soon as we get about 60, do you notice that elders start to become revolutionaries again? They get completely inconsiderate, super fun, wild ass jokes, have a killer sense of humor, love being laughed at more than they even like doing the laughing at, and don't worry about stuff that I still worry about because they're like, I don't know if it has to do with, they go, well, I'm in the 4th quarter of life, let's have a great time. But they do.
I feel like in my heart I have hit 60, Matthew. I'm at 60. You say this book is an approach book, so what do you mean by that?
You know, I mean, there's a lot of wisdom bombs in the book that have crossed me, that I've come up with, or people shared them with me, or I stole them along the way. But advice is a funny thing. I mean, no one really likes to get advice. No one likes to be told what to do. I know I don't. So when I say it's an approach book, I found the central theme in my own life that I think is applicable to everyone else in their own life is when you come across a crisis, what a proverbial yellow or red light in our life, a lot of times it's how we look at it that helps us navigate through it and turn it into a green light, or see the lesson in it that will reveal itself as a green light later in our life. So it's how we approach things. How do we see things? You know, how do we get relative with that inevitable situation? How do we get relative right now with these COVID times? Look, it's inevitable. They're here. It's a bad time. So how do we get relative and go, what can I get out of this? How can I do more inventory on myself? How can I spend more time with my family? How can I pet the dog longer? Whatever there are, you find the green lights in the situations that are red and yellow. So it's how you approach it. It's ways of seeing is more of what this book is.
I love that. I want to ask you, as I was sitting here, I just got it. So I was sitting here, and this is one of my favorite things. It says, if all that I would want to do would be to sit and talk to you, would you listen? And that, it says Matthew McConaughey, age 12? Like you,
Yes.
that's, like what? Like, first of all, I want to hug you because that's kind of sad. Like,
You're really going to want to hug me when I finish the story for you.
oh
Now, remember
no.
the story I told you about my mom a minute ago?
Yeah.
Little Mr. Texas, runner-up in later years? Well, my mom, that was not a one-off. She had consistencies with her outlaw logic. And this story is one. I open up the book with that poem written by me at age 12. Okay? As you'll go on, as you continue to read the book, you will see that in the 7th grade, when I wrote that poem, I was in a poetry contest. And I worked hard on a poem. I went back to show my mother the poem. My mother looked at it. She goes, that's not bad, but keep working on it. I go back to my room. I work some more. I come back. She goes, no, that's not bad. Hands me a book and goes, have a look at this one. I open it up. I read this poem. If all that I would want to do would be to sit and talk to you, would you listen? She goes, you like that one? I go, well, yeah. She goes, do you understand that one? I go, yeah, it's beautiful. And she goes, okay, then write that. And I go, but Mom, it says it's signed here by the author, whose name is Anne Ashford. And she goes, yes, but you understand it, don't you? It means something to you. I said,
Oh my God.
So I wrote that poem, signed my name to it in 7th grade, and I won the poetry contest.
Oh my God. Total plagiarism. Because I gotta be honest with you, I actually love that this story ended like that because I was like, what a sad little boy. Then to be like, would you listen? I was like, I want to hug you. So you mentioned bumper stickers often in the book. So what is it you love about them?
I love, you could tell so much about somebody with a bumper sticker.
Oh.
And I just like that they're easy, they're fun, they're one-liners, they're informal, they're a way to have a conversation without condemnation, and they're just fun. You can stick them anywhere. And that's why in the book, I make bumper stickers one word. And in Webster's dictionary, it's two. But no, let's stick bumper and sticker together. I like bumper stickers.
I love you so much. All right, well, I picked out a couple of bumper stickers from your book. Could you explain why you like them, and what about them?
There you go. One man's appetite is another man's indigestion. This came from me. We were raised on the golden rule. Do unto others, you would have them do unto you. It's a great rule to live by, but it's got a loophole. Not everybody wants to do what you want to do. So, one man's appetite is another's indigestion. There's not one common thing that, something that in my family, something that may tickle me, a word or something you say that may tickle me, may bruise someone else. I may have an appetite, something, then it may be an indigestion too. Something may give me indigestion in life where I'm like, no, that does not sit well. But you're like, no, I feverishly love it.
So you also have this one, less impressed, more involved.
This came to me soon after my father's passing. He died of a heart attack making love to my mother on August 17, 1992.
Wow.
And immediately after that, soon, within 2 weeks after that, I remember I carved this in a tree, less impressed, more involved. I noticed that there were things that I revered in life. Money, fame, people, success. And I had such a reverence for them that I wasn't able to actually be involved with them. I was too in awe of them. So after my father passed, those things that I revered, those mortal things on earth, lowered down to eye level. At the same time, the things that I was patronizing in my life, condescending, putting down, sloughing off, oh, that's not worthy, rose up to eye level. And I remember seeing the world as being flat, proverbially, meaning I could see further, wider, and more clearly, and was standing up for myself to have the courage to walk forward with my own head and heart high. Now, I think it came to me because my father's passing. You lose a father, you lose a loved one, you lose an inherent crutch you have to lean on, sort of something you can rely on that, oh, if I ever get in a real pinch, they've got my back. Well, that thing that I relied on, my father, was now gone. So I think I sobered up, and that's when I started to become a man myself, where I said, hey, respect those things, but do not revere them. They are mortal. Look life in the eye and walk forward into it. And that's what I tried to start doing from that day. And still have to work on maintaining that, but that's a lesson that came to me with my father's passing. Be less impressed and more involved. If I'm so impressed to talk to you right now, if I'm like, Kelly, wow, I can't really be involved in our conversation, can I? Because I'm holding you up to such a high standard.
Totally,
and
but
vice
feel
versa,
free to
right?
be
Yeah.
impressed. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, you will not remember this, but speaking of you being like, oh, I was so impressed by you. It was People's Choice Awards. I don't know, 2005 maybe. And I had come off stage and I was like, oh my God, I won a People's Choice Award, da da da. And I came back stage and you were literally 5 feet from me. And I am like a, little Texas girl, like grew up loving Matthew McConaughey and the Cowboys. And I'm like, it's like, and I literally like, I was so impressed that I was not involved. I literally was just like, I don't even remember what I said. And then I literally, in my head, was just like, walk away. And I walked away and I prayed to God. You had no idea what I was. And you didn't, and it worked. And anyway, so I just think it's amazing because and you were so kind because you knew I probably was, yep. Anyway, I was less involved and more impressed. Anyway, but I hate to ask, but would you mind just saying it once for the girl that made a complete idiot of herself? Before I let you go, would you mind saying the word just 3 times, whatever?
Not the one that goes, okay, okay, okay. Not the one that goes, yes, yes. You mean the one that goes, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah! I love you so much. Y'all be sure to check out Matthew's new book. It's called Greenlights, and you can buy